As the last rays of sunlight faded, a young boy stood alone in the sacred grounds of Fatima, overwhelmed by an awakening spirit that ignited with each whispered prayer around him. With a heart heavy with questions, he closed his eyes, seeking answers from the divine in a sanctuary that echoed with the hopes and dreams of those who came before him. What miraculous transformation awaited him on this sacred pilgrimage, and could the power of faith truly reshape his destiny? But to understand how we got to this point, we need to journey back to the beginning. You won't believe what happened next, but before we dive in, make sure to subscribe and tell us where you're watching from. The sun dipped beneath the horizon, casting a warm golden glow over the sacred grounds of Fatima. A young boy, no more than 15, stepped onto the cobblestones, his heart swelling with an indescribable mixture of hope and anticipation. Carlo Acutis adjusted the strap of his backpack and took a moment to breathe in deeply, the aroma of vibrant flowers blooming nearby filling his senses. This was not just another place to visit. It represented the culmination of years of fervent devotion and faith in Our Lady of Fatima. As he made his way through the peaceful streets, flashes of memories rushed back to him like a gentle tide. He remembered the first time he had heard the story of the apparitions, how his grandmother's voice had trembled with emotion as she recounted the experiences of the 3 shepherd children. Each detail painted a vivid picture in his mind, igniting a spark of faith that had taken root deep within his heart. The teachings she imparted were more than just words. They became an integral part of his identity, a strong Catholic faith that guided him even in times of uncertainty. He recalled the family gatherings that revolved around prayer, where rosaries were passed from hand to hand, each bead worn smooth from years of devotion. The flickering candlelight illuminated the faces of loved ones, each glow a testament to the hopes and desires whispered fervently into the night air. A pull of longing connected him to the spiritual essence of this place, and as he walked, the walls of Fatima seemed to whisper ancient stories of love, miracles, and unwavering devotion. In his heart, he felt a vibrant resonance between his childhood laughter and the solemn prayers that formed the bedrock of his faith. With every step he took, Carlo felt an undeniable bond growing stronger, as if the ground beneath him was a witness to the heartfelt prayers he had lifted over the years. He had embarked on this pilgrimage not only to express gratitude, but to seek a deeper, more unfathomable understanding of his faith. Fatima was more than a destination, it was a journey into the labyrinth of his soul. In this holy space, he envisioned a radiant light, the presence of the Virgin Mary surrounding him, serving as a guide toward the enlightenment he sought. Standing before the Caplanha des Aparissos, he was struck by the beauty of the shrine where Our Lady had revealed herself in 1917. The glistening white facade captured the last rays of the setting sun, radiating a sacred warmth that enveloped him. Carlo closed his eyes, allowing the stillness to seep into his very being, where he could feel the pulse of shared reverence in the air. His young heart raced at the thought of what might be revealed to him in this sanctified space filled with divine history. As he settled onto a stone bench, an observer amidst the multitude of pilgrims gathering, Carlo marveled at the tapestry of faith unfurling around him. Each face bore its own story, each whispered prayer a plea for guidance or healing. He was not alone in this endeavor. He was woven into a larger community unified by shared aspirations, each soul drawn to this hallowed space by a common yearning for divine connection. Laughter from children mingled harmoniously with the soft murmurs of prayer, creating a transcendent melody that linked their spirits together in a beautiful expression of hope. Entering the chapel, Carlo was greeted by the gentle flickering of candles, casting a warm glow across serene faces. The sweet scent of burning beeswax and incense permeated the air, heightening his sense of purpose. He observed an elderly couple kneeling in prayer, tears streaming down their cheeks as they whispered their innermost yearnings to Our Lady. In that moment, he comprehended the profound power of faith. It could breathe life into despair, igniting an unquenchable fire within the human spirit. Time slipped by unnoticed as he surrendered himself to hours of focused contemplation. Carlo poured his heart into prayers reflecting on dreams, hopes, and fears, inviting divine guidance in his search for clarity regarding his purpose in life. He felt deep within as if the sacred atmosphere were whispering promises to him, urging him that perhaps this pilgrimage could ignite a miraculous transformation, not solely within himself but also in those lives he might touch when he returned home. As Carlo opened his eyes and took in the faces around him, he felt a subtle shift in the atmosphere. Fellow pilgrims exchanged stories, their voices intermingling like a gentle breeze. Young and old alike shared testimonies of miraculous healings and answered prayers. An electric energy crackled in the air, each story adding a thread to the vibrant tapestry that connected them all. The stories danced around him, each word echoing a profound promise: God is present, God listens. As the sun cascaded into twilight, a serene calm enveloped Fatima. Carlo's heart overflowed with gratitude, yet within this contentment a quiet thought lingered. This was just the beginning of a journey that felt larger than himself. Questions swirled within him like leaves caught in an autumn breeze. What awaited him in the days that followed? Would his prayers resonate in the heavens? Would he become an instrument of divine grace, shedding light along the paths of others in their searches for meaning? Carlo took one last glance at the illuminated chapel as stars began to twinkle against the deepening sky, casting a soft glow over the historic cobblestones. A question floated unspoken in the atmosphere. What experiences awaited him on this sacred pilgrimage? He stepped forward into the night, the streets of Fátima beckoning him onward, his spirit alight with anticipation for the transformative encounters that awaited him on his journey of faith. The sun rose over Fátima, casting golden rays that danced through the trees, illuminating the path Carlo would tread today. As the soft morning light spilled across the cobblestone streets, he felt invigorated, filled with purpose that surged through him like an electric current. Today would be one of exploration and deeper understanding, a journey that would lead him not just through the landmarks of Fátima, but straight into the essence of his faith. Carlo gathered with fellow pilgrims around a modest breakfast table, their conversations a blend of excitement and devotion. The aroma of freshly baked bread mingled with the scent of brewed coffee, creating an inviting atmosphere. Laughter erupted among the young pilgrims, their hopeful spirits palpable as they shared their intentions for the day. Carlo felt himself becoming more connected to these people, each one distinct yet unified by a common thread of belief and aspiration. As they set out, Carlo led the group down narrow streets adorned with flowers. Each step felt significant, grounding him in the present moment. He couldn't help but notice the joy radiating from his companions. Their enthusiasm was infectious, and it propelled him forward in anticipation of the day's adventures. They ventured toward Old Justral, the village that had birthed the shepherd children who experienced the miraculous apparitions. As they entered the quaint town, the simple beauty of the landscape drew them in. The houses, steeped in history, stood as witnesses to the events that had unfolded years ago. Carlo could picture young Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinta laughing and playing in the fields, their innocence providing a stark contrast to the divine messages destined to change their lives forever. The group stopped at the home where the children had lived. Carlo felt a rush of emotions flood over him as he stepped through the creaking door. Inside, the atmosphere was thick with memories. They moved quietly, as if afraid to disturb the spirits of the past. The guide shared anecdotes about the children's lives there, their humble beginnings filled with dreams of greatness that seemed so distant from their daily toil. In this tiny space, Carlo understood the sheer power of faith blossoming in the most unassuming environments. With reverence, they entered the small chapel dedicated to their memories. The scent of incense drifted through the air, inviting them into contemplation and prayer. Carlo knelt at the altar, absorbing the history and stories of the faithful who had come before him. Here in this sacred space, he connected with the depths of his heart, pouring out prayers of gratitude and seeking guidance for his own life's mission. As they left the chapel, the group wandered the picturesque village, taking in the sights and sounds of Old Justral. They passed local vendors selling handcrafted rosaries and religious artifacts. Carlo marveled at the artistry, each piece a reflection of devotion and love. The vibrant colors and intricate designs drew him in. He felt the pull of each item, recognizing the prayers woven into their creation. Barbiana, one of the other pilgrims, picked up a necklace adorned with a small crucifix and said with a smile, "Every time I wear this, I'll remember this pilgrimage and how we're all connected." As they made their way back toward Fátima, their spirits high and laughter echoing, the group began to sing hymns that resonated deeply in their hearts. Their voices melded into a rich tapestry of sound, filling the very air around them with joy and unity. Carlo felt as if they were extending a bridge of faith sitting squarely between earth and heaven, their devotion shining brightly. Approaching Fátima, the imposing figure of the chapel came into view, radiating warmth and serenity. The anticipation in the air was palpable, a shared excitement surging through their group as they recognized the spiritual significance of the site. Carlo felt a profound sense of belonging, every step taking him closer to the revelations that awaited. Once they arrived, they joined a procession of pilgrims making their way toward the chapel. Carlo scanned the crowds, observing the faces of those gathered, some solemn, some filled with joy, all united in their purpose. The sight ignited a fire within him, buoying his spirit. It was a powerful reminder that faith had the ability to transcend personal struggles and reach across borders, binding hearts together in shared belief. As Mass began, Carlo found himself enveloped in the energy of the crowd. The sounds of prayer rose around him in a reverent crescendo, voices harmonizing beautifully. The priest's voice rang through the chapel, filled with warmth and sincerity, calling everyone to reflect on the profound mystery of the Eucharist and the gift of divine presence in their lives. Every prayer, every Amen, felt like a physical embodiment of faith, a promise shared and reaffirmed among the congregation. During the Eucharistic celebration, Carlo experienced a moment of powerful connection. As he received the Holy Communion, he was overwhelmed by grace, feeling the tangible love of Christ flow through him. Closing his eyes, he surrendered himself completely, the world around him fading away. There was only peace, a profound understanding that he was not alone, that he belonged to something greater. After Mass, the pilgrims gathered to share reflections. Carlo listened intently as others spoke about their personal journeys, their struggles, and the significance of their experiences at Fátima. Each story sounded like a thread being woven into a grand tapestry of faith and healing. Carlo marveled at how these shared moments of vulnerability and joy nourished their connections, deepening his appreciation for the journey they had embarked on together. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting vibrant shades of pink and orange across the sky, the atmosphere shifted gently. With the day drawing to a close, Carlo took a moment to breathe deeply, absorbing the warmth and the camaraderie that surrounded him. A deep sense of gratitude washed over him, and he knew he would carry the lessons learned here long after the pilgrimage ended. Under the twilight sky, the group gathered for a final prayer. Hands clasped together, Carlo felt the energy flowing between them, a current of hope and gratitude. It filled their hearts and linked them as a family bound by faith. As he looked around, he sensed that the pilgrimage was more than just a journey. It was a transformation that promised to deepen their souls and encourage authentic lives grounded in love. Night enveloped Fátima, the stars twinkling brightly above as if friends waving down. Carlo felt a deep peace settle in his heart, knowing that each moment of prayer and connection had a purpose. The pilgrimage was not just about the places they visited, it was about the transformation that had begun in each of them. The next day he would rise again, ready for whatever divine adventures awaited, confident in knowing he was walking the path of faith, surrounded by love and divine guidance. The dawn chorus pierced the stillness of the early morning, each note a gentle reminder of life awakening in Fátima. Carlo opened his eyes to the soft glow filtering through the curtains. The anticipation of a new day filled him with a bubbling excitement. The promise of continued spiritual growth and fresh experiences lingered in the air, fueling his resolve to embrace every moment the pilgrimage had to offer. Today, the plan was to spend hours in quiet reflection at the Capelin des Aparissos, the very spot where the Virgin Mary appeared to the shepherd children. After a modest breakfast shared with fellow pilgrims, Carlo felt a renewed sense of purpose. The camaraderie among the group had deepened, and he cherished the connections that had formed between them during their time together. Each one of them was a living part of the tapestry of faith, reflecting stories that intertwined and resonated with one another's experiences. With a smile, he felt grateful to be surrounded by kindred spirits, united by a common mission of rediscovering and deepening their faith. As they approached the Capelin, the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting a warm light across the chapel's gleaming white facade. Carlo's heart raced with anticipation, and he could feel the collective energy of the pilgrims around him, an echo of the faith that had long ago transformed this place into a sanctuary for believers. The chapel radiated holiness, and stepping inside, time seemed to dissolve. Silence enveloped them, a sacred shroud that whispered the prayers of those who had walked this path before. Carlo knelt before the altar, his heart fully open and vulnerable. The air was thick with prayer, and he allowed the stillness to permeate his thoughts. He envisioned the moments when the shepherd children, pure in spirit, had encountered Mary, their hearts wide open to receive her messages of love and mercy. As he lingered in this sacred space, Carlo's mind was flooded with thoughts about his own life. He pondered how he could carry this light within him beyond the pilgrimage, transforming himself into a beacon for others. Time slipped away as Carlo surrendered his thoughts. The stillness allowed him to pour out his deepest prayers, questions about purpose, struggles he faced, and the aspirations he held for the future. The serenity of the sanctuary acted as a mirror, reflecting back the thoughts and feelings he often suppressed in the busyness of life. Each word became part of a conversation, a way of communicating with the divine, seeking assurance that he was on the right path. As hours passed, fellow pilgrims joined him in reflective prayer. Gradually, hushed whispers filled the sacred space. Each person shared their own intentions, blending individual prayers into a collective tapestry woven from hope. Carlo listened intently, feeling the strength of their shared belief. The vulnerabilities they expressed resonated deeply within him, intertwining their faith journeys in ways that illuminated the power of community. He sensed that as each story was told, it created a ripple effect that reached beyond the walls of the chapel, echoing into the hearts of those gathered. After a time of earnest prayers, the group decided to venture outside into the fresh warmth of the day, taking a moment to absorb the beauty around them. They walked into the gardens surrounding the Capelin, where vibrant flowers bloomed in riotous colors. Carlo felt invigorated by the life bursting forth from every corner, a reminder of the power of God's creation. He marveled at how beauty coexisted with the simplicity of life, just as faith thrived amid trials. The group found a peaceful spot to sit and share reflections of the day's experiences. Each person shared insights gained during their time in the chapel, recounting the prayers they had offered, the hopes they yearned to realize, and the miracles they believed would shape their lives. Carlo felt the connection between them deepen as they opened up about their struggles and triumphs. Their stories unfolded like petals, revealing profound lessons of strength, resilience, and faith. An elderly woman spoke of her desire for healing, both spiritually and physically. Her fear and uncertainty were palpable, but so was her unwavering hope. It resonated deeply with Carlo. Another young man shared his paralyzing fear of the future, his voice shaking as he expressed a desire for guidance in navigating life's uncertainties. Carlo recognized the fragility and beauty of these shared moments. Everyone had their struggles, but here they were supported by a community that understood and embraced them without judgment. Carlo felt compelled to speak up, sensing the urgency of vulnerability. "We are all fighting our own battles," he began, "but here in this space we remind each other that we are not alone. This pilgrimage is not just about the places we visit, it's about the strength we find in each other, the connections forged through faith, and the love we carry forward." His words resonated with the group, an affirming acknowledgement of their joint experiences and shared purpose. Encouraged, they each embraced the opportunity to share personal stories that poured forth, imbued with sincerity. The garden thrummed with energy as laughter and tears intertwined, creating an atmosphere rich with compassion. As the sun began its descent, the horizon transformed, casting brilliant shades of orange and pink across the sky, a living canvas that mirrored their spiritual journey. Carlo felt a sense of profound gratitude welling within him, a radiant warmth that filled his heart. He knew that this pilgrimage was carving out spaces within him, spaces for healing, growth, and love. Inspired by the day's reflections, they decided to conclude with a communal prayer, creating a circle under the vast sky. Hands clasped, Carlo felt the power of collective intention forming a sacred bond among them. Each person held a piece of the other's heart, each silent prayer honed by faith reverberating in the universe. The energy among them was electric, pulsating with hope and visualizing miracles yet to come. As the final Amen resonated softly around them, a serene calm fell over the group. Carlo took a deep breath, letting the energy settle within him as he closed his eyes one last time for the day. When he opened them, he felt rejuvenated and different somehow, more attuned to the pulse of life and the dreams hovering just out of reach. He might not have all the answers yet, but he recognized the profound comfort that faith and community provided. Later, as the stars twinkled above like a blanket of diamonds, Carlo reflected on the day's events. The simplicity of prayer, vulnerability, and shared joy had solidified an understanding deep within him. The pilgrimage exceeded his expectations. It had unlocked doors to greater faith and connection, and he couldn't help but smile at the thought of what awaited him in the days to come. With the moon casting a serene glow over Fátima, Carlo drifted into peaceful slumber, knowing he was surrounded by love and that his journey was only just beginning. Tomorrow would bring new chapters of exploration, devotion, and friendship, each one beckoning him to embrace the light and love that flowed through the heart of this holy place. The sun began to rise, casting a golden hue over Fátima, gently urging the town to wake up and embrace a new day filled with possibilities. Carlo emerged from his slumber feeling renewed, the warmth of the morning light seeping into his heart. Today, the group had planned a visit to a local youth center, where they would engage with young people seeking guidance and inspiration. Carlo felt excitement bubbling inside him at the thought of sharing the experiences he had gathered thus far during the pilgrimage. After a quick breakfast, the group assembled outside the shelter, their faces illuminated by a mix of anticipation and joy. They discussed their plans, emphasizing the importance of connecting with the youths through their own stories, offering hope and encouragement and reinforcing that they were not alone in their journeys. Carlo could see the eagerness in his friends' eyes, and he felt a sense of unity among them, a shared purpose binding them together. As they walked toward the youth center, the streets of Fátima hummed with energy. Local vendors were setting up their stalls, filling the air with enticing aromas of fresh bread and pastries. Carlo was captivated by the sights and sounds of life unfolding around him, each moment a reminder that he was part of something greater. He exchanged warm smiles with fellow pilgrims, feeling reassured by their presence. Upon reaching the youth center, they were greeted by a friendly director who welcomed them with open arms. "We're so pleased to have you all here today," he said, his enthusiasm palpable. "The young people are always eager to meet new faces and hear fresh stories. They are at a critical point in their lives, searching for guidance and inspiration." Carlo nodded, understanding the significance of their role. The youths were navigating their struggles, uncertainties, and dreams, much like he was. He felt a thrill course through him, knowing he could potentially make a lasting impact on their lives. As they entered the center, the energy shifted. The sound of laughter and chatter filled the space as young people gathered, curious to see who had arrived. Carlo could see their unease mingling with excitement, a reflection of the unknown that always accompanies meetings like these. The group of pilgrims began by introducing themselves, sharing brief stories about their own journeys of faith and discovery. Carlo watched as the young people shifted in their seats, their eyes lighting up with intrigue. While they all came from different backgrounds, their shared experiences created a tapestry of commonality, a bridge connecting them across generations. Carlo stepped forward after a few of his companions had spoken, feeling a surge of confidence propelling him onward. "When I was your age, I often felt lost and unsure of my path," he shared, his heart pounding but his voice steady. "I embraced moments of doubt and fear, wondering how I would ever find my place in the world. But through faith, community, and the love of those who believed in me, I discovered my purpose." The youths listened closely, some nodding in empathy while others exchanged glances, connecting with his vulnerability. Carlo could see the flickers of hope ignite in their eyes, an indication of the power his words held. He continued to speak from his heart, recounting experiences that had shaped him, struggles he had faced, and the miracles he had witnessed on his journey, that same journey that had brought him to Fátima. As he spoke, the young people began to open up too, sharing their own challenges and aspirations. Some expressed their fears about the future, others voiced their hopes of making a difference in the world around them. Each story shared felt like a thread being woven into a common fabric, binding them together in mutual support and understanding. After a while, the room buzzed with energetic conversations. The pilgrims began to facilitate small breakout groups, allowing everyone a chance to bond further through discussions and shared activities. Carlo found himself paired with a group of young people eager to ask questions about faith and community. One girl with bright eyes and an inquisitive spirit asked, "How do we stay strong in our faith when life gets hard?" Carlo smiled, recognizing the weight of her inquiry. It resonated deeply with his own experiences. It's important to remember that faith isn't just about feeling strong all the time. Instead, it's about being honest with ourselves about our struggles and embracing those moments with hope and openness. He shared how he had struggled, how he had questioned his beliefs, and how he learned that these moments were opportunities for growth. Sometimes, it's in the depths of our challenges that we find our greatest strength, and sharing our doubts with others allows us to connect deeply and nurture the light that shines within us all, he explained. As the conversation flowed, spontaneity filled the air and laughter echoed in the room. Carlo felt a newfound connection blossom between them all, a recognition that their youth challenges could morph into pathways of growth, not barriers. The walls that often separated generations crumbled as genuine understanding took root. As the day moved along, they engaged in activities centered around art and expression, creating a mural of hope that adorned the center's walls. Carlo picked up a paintbrush, joining the young artists in exploring the beauty of collective creativity. Each stroke became an expression of their dreams and desires, a manifestation of faith brought to life through the simple act of creation. As the final touches were made, the mural stood proudly, a vivid testament to their shared journey and the connections forged during the day. The young people gathered to admire the artwork, their faces lit with joy and pride. Carlo felt a swell of gratitude in his heart. This was more than just a mural. It was a symbol of their collective faith, of love, resilience, and the beauty they brought into the world together. Before they concluded their time together, the group gathered in a circle for one last reflection. "Remember," Carlo began, looking around at the bright faces before him, "this experience doesn't end here. Share your stories, love, and hopes with those around you, just as we have today. Continue to be a source of light for one another." The group nodded, a shared understanding passing between them. They clasped hands in a circle, offering a moment of prayer together. In that moment, it felt as though barriers had dissolved, as their voices harmonized in a sweet melody of unity and faith. Each Amen echoed with promise, and as they lifted their hands, Carlo felt the electricity of hope for what lay ahead. As they parted ways, Carlo carried the warmth of connection in his heart. He knew their stories would ripple outward, underlining the importance of sharing love and faith with the world around them as he prepared to leave Fátima. As night fell, he found himself reflecting on the incredible journey he had embarked upon. The experiences shared, the connections forged, and the vulnerability displayed had transformed him in ways he couldn't fully grasp yet. He felt himself being changed, expanded, buoyed, ready to embrace whatever the universe unfolded before him. With the stars twinkling overhead, Carlo realized that he was not alone. He was part of something incredibly beautiful, bound by faith, love, and those moments of connection with others. He He felt lighter as he drifted into sleep, confident in the knowledge that each experience was a step along his path of growth. Tomorrow would hold new chapters, rich with love and the possibility of sharing light in the world, all seeded by the journey of faith he had begun in Fátima. The sun began to rise over Fátima, casting a soft light that spilled across the quaint town and filled Carlo with anticipation. Today was a special day. It marked the conclusion of his pilgrimage. As he prepared for the day ahead, he felt a mixture of excitement and nostalgia, knowing that the experiences he had gathered would stay with him forever. After a quick breakfast, the group assembled for one last meeting before parting ways. They found a quiet spot near the shrine where they could sit and reflect together. The air was filled with a comforting warmth, and the soft sound of rustling leaves played a soothing melody. Carlo looked around at the faces of his friends. Each one was illuminated by a unique light, a reflection of the experiences they had shared. "Today we end one chapter and begin another," Carlo began, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. "Fátima has given us so much over the past days. It's up to us to carry these lessons, love, and stories into our own lives." He paused, allowing the weight of his words to settle in. The group nodded in agreement, their eyes sparkling with understanding. Each one had been touched deeply by the experiences of the pilgrimage, and the memories they shared became a part of them. They discussed what they would take back home, not just in terms of experiences, but in how they would act on the inspiration they had received. "I want to remind myself to be present and to share my faith with others, just as we have done here," said one of the girls, her voice filled with determination. "I hope to be a beacon of hope to those in need." "I will keep our prayers and this journey in my heart," added another pilgrim. "This has shown me the importance of community and compassion. I want to create the same sense of togetherness wherever I go." Carlo felt a wave of emotion washing over him as he recognized the powerful sentiments expressed by his friends. It was clear that this pilgrimage had transformed them all in ways that could not yet be entirely understood. The time they spent sharing thoughts became a lovely tapestry of dreams and ambitions, intertwined with the promise of love and community. Carlo realized that he wasn't just departing from Fátima, he was carrying a piece of it within him, a piece of faith that would light his way onward. As the gathering came to a close, Carlo suggested they offer a final prayer together. They formed a circle, holding hands tightly, each gripping the warmth of connection. The sense of unity was palpable, and Carlo encouraged them to visualize spreading the messages of love and hope they had received, letting them flow into their homes and their communities. As they prayed, words of gratitude and hope poured forth like a river, weaving through the group, binding hearts together in a profound sense of purpose. Each Amen resonated in the crisp morning air, anchoring their intentions as they prepared to embrace the world outside. Once the prayer concluded, Carlo felt a profound sense of closure. He cherished each voice, each moment shared, and the love that had enveloped them in this sacred place. They spent a few more moments chatting casually, savoring the last bits of connection before heading off in different directions. After this bittersweet farewell, Carlo wandered slowly toward the Capelinha one last time. He felt drawn to the sacred space, seeking to immerse himself in the serenity that it offered. Each step brought him closer, his heart beating with excitement and gratitude for the journey he had experienced. As Carlo stood before the chapel, he reflected on all he had witnessed and learned. He took his time, observing the intricate details that lined the walls, the images of the Virgin Mary smiling down at him, and the candles flickering gently in remembrance of countless prayers. It all resonated deeply within him, a profound reminder of the hope and love present in every corner of Fátima. He knelt in contemplation, surrendering his heart to God once more. In this space, he poured out his hopes for the future and expressed gratitude for the lessons he had learned. Carlo envisioned the work ahead, to be a vessel of love, to sow seeds of hope, and to share the messages he had gathered with others beyond these walls. With a peaceful heart, he finally stood up, feeling strengthened by his reflections. The day was still young, and he realized he wanted to make the most of his time in Fátima. He stepped back outside and inhaled deeply, filling his lungs with the fragrant air, a blend of flowers, incense, and the warmth of the sun. As he walked through the streets one final time, he noticed groups of pilgrims engaging with one another, laughing and exchanging stories. The community spirit enveloped him, the assurance that Fátima was alive and thriving. Different colors of handmade crafts surrounded him, each item spoken with love and intent. He stopped at a stall where a local artisan sold beautiful rosaries. Carlo approached, picking up a vibrant piece woven with care. The artisan smiled at him, and Carlo could see the pride in his eyes. "Each one tells a story," he said, "a story of faith, a story of devotion." Carlo returned the smile, feeling that familiar tug of connection. "Can I share this story?" he he asked, holding up the rosary. "I want to take it back to my community and tell them about the love and faith I found here in Fatima." The artisan nodded, touched by Carlo's words. "That's the most beautiful thing. Share it widely, for these stories are what bind us as one family." Carlo purchased the rosary, feeling a sense of purpose as he placed it carefully in his backpack. It would accompany him back home, serving as a physical reminder of the light he had discovered here, one that he could share with anyone willing to listen. As he made his way toward the exit of Fatima, Carlo felt an overwhelming sense of peace. The connections he had forged over the past days would carry far beyond the town, rippling out to those who were yet to hear the message of hope and love. He took one last moment to gaze at the chapel in the distance, a symbol of the spiritual journey he would continue to embrace. Stepping forward with renewed faith, he prepared to embrace all the new chapters ahead, carrying Fatima so vividly within him, a treasure of love, connection, and unwavering hope that he would share with the world. As Carlo stepped away from the chapel, he felt the sunlight warming his skin, illuminating the path ahead. Each step filled him with anticipation for the journey home, not just as a return, but as a new beginning infused with the lessons learned in Fatima. The vibrant memories of the past days flashed in his mind, the laughter, the prayers, the connections made. Each moment was a precious thread woven into the tapestry of his faith. On the bus ride, he sat by the window, watching the rolling hills and sprawling fields glide by. The landscape was dotted with small villages, each one bursting with life and color. Carlo's mind was alive with thoughts of how he could share the light he had found with those who awaited him. He envisioned conversations with family and friends, the joy of telling them about the miraculous experiences he had encountered, and how he wanted to bring every bit of that hope into their lives. The bus jolted to a stop at a rest area and Carlo stretched his legs. He stepped outside, inhaling deeply the fresh air, grateful for the journey thus far. As he wandered around, he noticed a family sitting at a nearby table, their heads bent close together, sharing a story, much like he had done in Fatima. He hesitated for a moment, then approached them. "Hello, I couldn't help but overhear your laughter. It reminds me of the beautiful connections I made during my recent pilgrimage to Fatima," he said warmly. The family looked up, curious about the stranger with a bright smile. "Fatima, what is that?" the father asked, intrigued. "It's a place of profound faith in Portugal, where people gather to celebrate love, hope, and connection," Carlo explained, his heart swelling with pride as he recounted snippets of his experience. He mentioned meeting fellow pilgrims, creating art together, and the warm moments that blossomed into friendships. "Sounds magical," the mother said, a smile spreading across her face. "It's wonderful to meet someone who has experienced such depth of connection." The conversation flowed effortlessly, and as he shared the stories, Carlo felt the familiar spark reignite, a reminder of the purpose he discovered in Fatima. The family listened intently, encouraging him to elaborate on the impact of shared faith and community. "What do you think we need to make such connections?" one of the children asked, eyes wide with wonder. Carlo considered the question thoughtfully. "It starts with open hearts and the willingness to share our stories," he replied. "We all have experiences that shape us, and when we share them, we invite others into our lives. It's a beautiful way to connect and remind one another that we're not alone." Their conversation lingered in the air, charged with hope and possibility, as well as an energy that shimmered not just in Carlo but in the family's responses. As they parted ways, they exchanged smiles and words of encouragement, promising to carry the warmth of that encounter into their day. Back on the bus, Carlo resumed his seat, feeling rejuvenated by the simple exchange. It was moments like these that reminded him of the beauty in sharing his experiences, the realization that faith could be nurtured in unexpected conversations. When he finally arrived home, the familiar sights welcomed him back. As he stepped through the door of his house, he noticed a sense of transformation within himself. With a heart full of gratitude, he couldn't wait to share his stories. He gathered his family and friends together, recounting every detail of the journey, from the faces he had met in Fatima to the moments of deep reflection that had changed him. Carlo reached into his backpack and pulled out the vibrant rosary, holding it up for everyone to see. "This represents my journey, a physical symbol of hope and love I found in Fatima. I want to share its story, a story of connection, warmth, and unwavering faith," he declared, his voice steady and passionate. His family leaned in, captivated. The room filled with a cozy atmosphere as they listened intently, embracing the light he had brought back with him, and allowing themselves the space to reflect on their own lives and the connections among them. As they conversed, Carlo felt a deep sense of peace. He knew that Fatima would continue to thrive in his heart, and that he was now a steward of its spirit, an embodiment of love and connection meant to be shared with the world. With each story told, every laugh exchanged, and every moment shared, Carlo intertwined the lessons of Fatima with the everyday lives of those around him. He was determined to keep the light alive. As he looked around at those he loved, he felt a conviction grow stronger within him, a calling to be a bridge of hope and inspiration for everyone in his life. Days turned into weeks, and the transformative energy from his pilgrimage continued to inspire him. Carlo organized small gatherings and community outreach events, reminding people of the strength they found in one another. The spirit of Fatima flowed through him, empowering him to create spaces filled with stories, faith, and love. Each new chapter presented a beautiful tapestry of connections, and as Carlo moved forward in his life, he understood that the pilgrimage was only the beginning. He was ready to embrace the journey of faith that lay ahead, nurtured by the love he had discovered and the countless stories waiting to be shared with the world. And so, with every person he encountered, Carlo remained committed to being a beacon of light in their lives, illuminating the path of faith, hope, and community wherever life's journey would lead him next. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. To hear the next story, click the box on the left. Thanks for watching.